I'm sure we've all ran into this guy before. You're at a bar, you're trying to hang out with some friends, and there's always that one guy that decides to make the conversation all about his wife or his girlfriend or boyfriend or a friend that he knows or that drives him crazy. Says all this negative shit about her the entire time. Talk about all the annoying habits, all these deep dark secrets that person has. All the while, you're thinking to yourself, why the fuck doesn't this guy just talk to his wife about these things? And how long before this very same guy turns on you and starts talking about shit behind your back? Doesn't really spell out as a trustworthy person. I enjoy a good party every now and then. Hell, now that I go to family gatherings even less, when I go to them, I can actually have a decent conversation. And until they say something degrading related to my sexuality, then I have to bite my tongue in order to prevent myself from making a scene. But other than that, I can make a pretty good conversation now. When I worked at the office, fuck. We worked 60 hours a week. We took a lot of shit from clients and giving each other feedback and how to improve each other. So when we only get to party maybe 2 or 3 times out of the year, we fucking partied hard. We made every second count. You know, we get drunk, we talk about where we're going, where we'd like to be, taking relationships to the next level, some goals that we're achieving. I get a little too tipsy and do a twerk on top of the table. All was good. We talk about politics, we talk about religion, we talk about all these great things. The things we didn't talk about, though, were celebrities. Unless it was related to how ridiculous the media coverage is on people like Miley Cyrus or Miley Crikey or whatever her fucking name is, and her little antics on TV as if it's going to bring about the end of the fucking world.
The aftershocks from the Miley twerk will be felt for a long, long time. Overnight, MTV is taking real heat for the VMAs.
We didn't talk about people like that, and we certainly did not talk about everyday average people. And even when it came to people in the office, it was always in a positive light, or people that left us, we just looked at their mistakes and how to prevent other people from making the same mistakes. We never talk about Jenny, who's cheating on her husband, Bob, who turned out to be gay for a man dying of cancer, who also turned out to be a pastor of a church in the middle of a pedophile scandal, who happens to be the very person Jenny is cheating on with, too, at the same time. And he's the center suspect of the pedophile ring, so the only way to have his charges released is if Jenny confesses her love affair. We never talk about people like that because people who live soap opera lives are dysfunctional, emotionally distraught, and unstable. Unstable people are people you want to distance yourself away from as far as fucking possible, because they will find ways to drag you down to their level. So going back to that person who wants to make conversations of other people who are not present, who makes a conversation about his relationship, all this negative shit that he won't talk to his girlfriend about because, fuck, that would bring conflict to the relationship. She might get angry. He might get angry. The whole thing might fall fucking apart. But it's so much easier just to go with your friends and talk about how much you hate your fucking wife that you're married to. Eventually what happens, though, is that person ends up talking behind you. And eventually, word gets back to you one way or another, and you walk around hating each other. But you don't say anything to each other because that creates conflict. Instead, you kind of just drink with each other, you know, nod, give a wink and a nod. You get along just fine. It does always amaze me how some people can talk about how they hate a certain individual with a passion. They talk about all this shit that they do, and yet you find them together a week later, hanging out in the same venue, going out together, having fun. But this person hates that guy. Why is he hanging out with that guy? It fucking boggles me. If I don't want to be around someone, I'm not around that person. I ignore them. I don't acknowledge their existence. And if they force me to acknowledge their existence, then that becomes a harassment, and it's a whole other fucking bag of worms altogether. But it just seems because it's just a lot easier just to go with that flow than to actually, you know, say what's on your mind when it comes to a certain individual, especially when that individual happens to be in the same presence as you. It just seems like everyone is just afraid of a little confrontation every now and then. They don't need to be involved in your life at all. You need to find ways to distance yourself or get some balls and confront the person face to face, eye to eye, man to man, woman to woman. address the issues at hand. Otherwise, they'll just fester and grow until finally, you know, one person spills a cup of orange juice on the table and you just explode on everyone. You're never going to please everyone. If you end up trying to please everyone, you end up being an unpaid caretaker. A person set up to be taken advantage of. Hell, I had a guy who was talking shit about a friend of mine. He didn't even know the guy. They never even met. Just saying how much he hated this guy, how much he wanted to kill him, etc. So finally confronted that person. Asked him, so I hear you hate me. Why do you hate me? Guy couldn't give a fucking answer. People will just hate you just to fucking hate you. And that's the reality of the situation. We had this girl in the office at one point that was talking nasty shit about someone that she worked with. She was talking to everyone else around the office about how she hates this one person, so she hates working with this one person. And there's only about maybe 25 people in our office. The only person she wasn't talking to was the person that she didn't like to work with. So what ended up happening when this got around was, oh, okay, so you have a problem with John? Well, let's bring John in here so you can actually tell it to him, to his face. We didn't put up with any of that stupid shit. We know if you let that go on, you know, and especially if you're the person listening to those grievances that this person has, eventually that person's going to have grievances about you. And she'll be talking about you with everyone else but you. They say great people talk about ideas, average people talk about things, small people talk about people. Don't be a small person.